You're watching the Bassmaster Elite at Cherokee Lake, being brought to you live by Berkeley.
Jesse Wiggins has caught more fish before breakfast than most of us ever have.
Yes.
At any point. And he's doing it in a Bassmaster Elite Series event, the first stop of the year, trying to be the first guy since Derek Rimmets to be a rookie and take that first trophy of the year. It's interesting for a whole lot of reasons. And we've seen three other guys out there, or two other guys, and they're all doing the same thing. So a good time for Yamaha Taste the Bait, maybe?
Way to tee it up, Tommy Sanders. Exactly right. And so far, every single angler that we have been on is throwing this, and here's the thing, it's not like, we said this yesterday, it's not like these guys figured this technique out coming here. This is very popular in this area. It's called the Damiki rig, and the reason why it's called the Damiki rig, a lot of times the soft plastic trailer anglers use, very popular on this lake, is the Damiki armor shad. That being said, a lot of our guys in the top 10 are using a lot of different soft plastics, but the major key to this rig, besides the little 2.5 inch to 3 inch soft plastic minnow trailer, a lot of guys are using a Zoom Fluke. Some guys using a Jackal crosstail shad. Here's the deal. It's a very realistic rig. And I want to go back to that picture of Jacob Wheeler's setup. Let's go back to that picture that we had up there, for that one right there, okay? You see that VMC Moon Eye jig head. Jacob Wheeler, this is not a goofy sales pitch. Jacob Wheeler said, the key to my rig is how realistic my jig head looks, almost like the one that I'm holding here. He believes that that big eye on that jig head, it's a little light wire hook, but it's a heavy jig head. It's a 3/8 ounce or a 1/2 ounce. A lot of our anglers believe the more realistic you can get that jig head, the more bites you're gonna get. The other thing is that 90-degree angle line tie. It's not a 60-degree, so that bait hangs like that. That 90-degree lets it sit there vertical for all of these very high-pressured fish. And the other thing, Such, you got a question, I think it's a very cool question, off of the Twitters of why not other baits like a jig and spoon or a silver buddy?
Right.
Look, a silver buddy, a blade bait style bait, it definitely works on lakes like this. But the more pressure that these fish become, the more they're pounded on, the more this finesse style rig is going to produce by the end of the tournament. And I'm sure a blade bait or a spoon completely works here at certain times. Also, the other thing is, to me, a blade bait or a jig and spoon seems to work a lot better in that 37 to 42 degree water. The warmer it gets, the more a soft plastic tends to always work better with a smallmouth. As a whole, even when you're up north, last week, it just seems that metal works real good around 40, and that soft plastic works out a lot better as you get 45 and up.
School us on something really basic on smallmouth behavior this time of year. I mean, obviously, other times of year.
They group up.
Yeah, but they're not as, I mean, you don't see follows up to the boat. You don't see them trying to take the bait away from one another. They're generally a little more lethargic, or are they not?
Any bass is a little bit more lethargic when the water temp's 42 to 48 degrees. But the other thing about that is, one of the biggest misconceptions about wintertime bass, period, is that they are lethargic. That is so untrue.
Not true?
That is so untrue. I broke a lake open last week. I broke the ice open. Right when you broke the ice open, the bass were incredibly aggressive when you got them to bite. And if you listen to a lot of our anglers like Wiggins, right here, whenever these guys tend to get one to bite, their graph lights up and they get very aggressive. I think
any time of year.
I think that's a very big misconception about bass, period. That they're lethargic when it's cold. They're lethargic until you get a school ignited.
You're cold.